Hi again, everyone. Welcome to Inside Gators Basketball with Todd Golden, presented by UF Health. With head coach Todd Golden, I'm Sean Kelley. Glad you've joined us as the wins continue to keep coming here for the Gators. It's now 6 straight, and coach, you're coming off of a week with wins against Kentucky and South Carolina. What stayed the same for this team? What have you added to the repertoire?
Well, as you said, the winning has continued, which is obviously great and very enjoyable. I thought our game against Kentucky was awesome. You know, we did a really good job getting off to a great start, setting the tone. We were up 15 early in that ball game. Credit Kentucky. I thought they played tough and they stayed the course and kept that game close for a little bit in the second half. We did a really good job kind of in that middle point of that second half, pushing that lead back to double digits and not really ever letting it get too tight down the stretch. And that was a big game. That was for first place in that moment. Kentucky was playing with a lot of confidence. So for us to win that game was huge. And then I thought we had a very workmanlike effort against South Carolina. We knew that was a game that could be considered a little bit of a trap game, coming off 4 really tough conference games. And we did a good job. You know, as we've talked about before, I didn't think we were perfect, but we did enough to win that game convincingly.
Interesting how each of those games had their own character, right? Like you said, high-stakes game against Kentucky, and then the South Carolina team that you guys dismantled at their place. Human nature-wise, it's kind of hard to play those two, different levels of stakes, if you will.
Absolutely. You know, the Kentucky game, rivalry game, Denzel coming back home. There were a lot of different storylines as we were competing for first place going into that game. That was a very physical game, and it was a very emotional game. I think we expended a lot of energy that way, last Saturday. And so getting ourselves back right mentally and physically for South Carolina was a bit of a challenge. And credit to Lamont and his club. I thought they had a much better game plan this time around to slow us down and to make us play in the half court. But with that being said, I was really proud of our guys to go 2-0 last week.
I'm glad you touched on the fact that in the second matchup with South Carolina, they made some changes. What are you seeing now here in the latter half of the conference schedule that teams are maybe doing differently against you than your prior opponents?
Well, you know, in that game specifically and from a big picture, a lot of opponents are really trying to control tempo against us. You know, I think they've seen that we're a team that when we guard and rebound well, that we can really get out and transition and score early in the clock. And that's been a great formula for us. And they're really trying to slow the game down, make us work on the defensive end, maybe not crashing as many guys to the glass to get back and load up against our transition push. And it's making us operate in the half court a little more.
Xavier Lee, SEC Player of the Week during this winning streak. And, of course, those 2 games had a lot to do with it. Coach, when you look at his 20 points per game and when he won the award, he was, I think, 10 assists, just 2 turnovers. What's allowed Xavier to make another step here for you guys?
I think he's playing with a really high level of confidence right now and comfort as well. You know, him and Bug have done a great job over the last month getting comfortable playing next to each other. It's tricky for 2-point guards, you know, to be out there, guys that are used to having the ball in their hands at the previous stop, but they've both done a great job of conforming to play with each other and lifting each other up. And I feel like X is playing with the most freedom and confidence that he has all year. He was great on the road at Georgia, one of the best games he's had all year. I think he had 20 points, 7 assists, no turnovers. Came back against Kentucky and did a great job, especially early in the game, setting the tone on the offensive end.
During this winning streak, Ruben Chinulu is averaging 15-plus rebounds per game right now. Coach, you're 16-0 when he double-doubles. Every time he does it, the Gators win. I'm starting to run out of things to ask you about Ruben Chinulu.
Consistency. You know, I think that's the one thing that we can really highlight. The level of play has been happening for a while now, really since, this season started, but the consistency of being in the double-double range. And we're not talking 10 and 10s here. We're talking usually 15 rebounds, 17 rebounds, even 20 rebounds in some games. His ability to limit our opponents to one shot has really lifted our defense this year.
Your leading assist guys, Coach, 94 assists on the season, 93 and then 89. 2 of those make sense. They're guards, right? They're facilitators. Number 3 guy, Alex Condon. Did you envision him being that much of a playmaker and having the impact of closing in on 100 assists at this point in the season?
You know what? We really did. I thought over the last 10 games last year, he did a really good job in that role. And our guards were scoring a lot for us last year, as we know, but a lot of it was coming out of these 2- and 3-man games with Kondo kind of in the middle of the floor starting it. So going into this year, we expected his usage to go up with those guys moving on, and we needed and have needed him to step up into more of that playmaking role, and he's done a great job that way.
Coach, your best player is Thomas Houck, and we could argue on any given night whether he's the best player in a game, but I think overall we would agree that he's kind of the lead guy. When the lead guy never takes a play off, what does it do to the rest of his team?
It just raises the standard in the program, and he's amazing that way. Kondo and Ruben are both great that way as well. When they're on the floor, they expect to be the hardest playing guys. And from a micro perspective, individually, those guys do a great job. But it's our team. That's kind of the philosophy team-wise, that we need to be the hardest playing team, and Tommy's leading a great example that way.
Coach, are you staying with the 8-man rotation? And if so, why is it working for you?
Well, definitely. I feel like at this point in the season, everybody's really comfortable. And credit to Zay, Irby, and Micah for the way they've come in and really not only just kept the level steady, but continue to raise the level. And their lift has been fantastic for us. We have other guys that are talented enough to play. But this is working well for us right now, so we'll continue with it.
Speaking of Micah Handlockton, if I just looked at box scores, I might be a little down on Micah's play. That's the mistake here. I get to watch every play, Coach. That's the complete opposite of what Micah's been doing.
He's a winner. And, generally rebounds really, really well, but doesn't always score it a lot and, maybe not getting a lot of assists. But Micah is always making his teammates better, whether it's covering up defensively, whether it's tipping the ball in offensively after a miss, whether it's moving the ball offensively. He is always playing for the benefit of the team. And his not only has his experience helped us, but obviously having a starter-level player that comes off the bench has given us a big lift.
6 in a row, 11 of the last 12. The Gators find themselves in first place in the Southeastern Conference. Time now for Up Next with Todd Golden, presented by UF Health. Coach, before I get to the specifics of the games coming up, as we know, you are in first place and now have a 2-game cushion at the top of the conference with 5 to play. How do you play that out strategy-wise now with regard to the goal of winning a regular season championship?
Well, we can't be complacent. We can't be content. Obviously in a great spot with 5 to go. But just as quickly as we got to this spot, a tough loss to a team that we shouldn't lose to will put us back in a precarious situation in regards to trying to win the league. So, as we get ready for this contest against Ole Miss, the message is simple, a little cliche. It's one day and one game at a time, and we got to take care of business on Saturday in Oxford.
It would be easy for me to look past Ole Miss, who's 3-10 in conference play. Why should I not do that when it comes to the Rebels?
Well, just like most teams in our league, they're capable on any given night. They won on the road at Georgia. They should have won on the road at A&M earlier this week and took a tough loss that they gave up in the last 4 minutes of the game. Played Texas well. They played a lot of the better teams in our league really, really tough. When you have guys like A.J. Storr and Malik Dia, multiple guys that can score it, willing to use possessions, and then they got good shooters like Patton Pinkins, Travis Perry shooting the ball well for them. They got some weapons. We got to do a really good job guarding our yard one-on-one against those big guys and then being ready to get out to the shooters when we do a good job covering them up.
Coach, there is this certain reality that maybe you and the players both don't want to admit, but you're coming off of a stretch of 3 games in 6 days, and now you're at that point of the season where there is a toll that goes into one's mind and onto one's body. How do you deal with that reality, not make it an excuse, but yet manage it correctly?
Yeah, it's something that we think about every day. And we talked a lot about, getting through that 4-game stretch prior to South Carolina. We were playing really hard physically. I thought our mental was in a really good place. And then after, going 4-0 through that stretch, I think human nature took over. We relaxed a little bit and weren't able to rev ourselves up the right way completely against South Carolina to have a dominant effort like we did there. So now it's about, both mental and physical preparation going to this 5-game stretch.
The Gators have this 2-game cushion in the SEC at the top of the standings because of some crazy play this week in the Southeastern Conference. Coach, it's must-watch television right now in the conference. How different are the SEC teams playing now than they were maybe a couple of weeks ago?
I would say very different. You have teams, you look at the Alabama-Arkansas game where they're playing into the hundreds in that game. We talked about A&M and Ole Miss playing a really tough battle where Ole Miss is up 10 on the road at Texas A&M, something that you would not have expected as little as a week or two ago. And then you got Missouri and Vanderbilt going down to the wire where a half-court shot almost drops, for Vandy to sneak out of there with the win. But instead, Missouri takes care of their home floor. And again, it's the parity in this league is as good as it's ever been.
As we talked about, Ole Miss on Saturday, Texas midweek in Austin in the next week before we're back with you again, and the Gators are finally back home. Only 2 home games remaining. Coach, congratulations on the way your ball club has handled this stretch. Looking forward to see what's next.
Thanks, Sean.
Head coach Todd Golden here with us, presented by UF Health. I'm Sean Kelley. We'll see you next time, and as always, go Gators.